Hi, so my name's Haley Liner. I'm one of the dietitians here at the Pueblo WIC office, and I'll be going over the cost comparisons and formula feeding with you today. Just a few risks of formula feeding include increased risk of ear infections. A lot of that has to do with like the ear, nose, and throat is all connected, and so making sure that everything is swallowed and really cleared out of the way is important to help prevent ear infections. So if that's not happening when your baby's drinking formula, then they'll be more likely to get an ear infection. The risk of developing diabetes increases by about 40%. The risk of obesity increases by about 30%. And then risk of hospitalization for asthma and pneumonia also increases about 2.5 times. So it's really important to never prop your baby's bottle up and leave them alone with their bottle. That can just make it to where everything kind of leaks, and it definitely increases their risk for getting ear infections and tooth decay. Then some things to think about if your baby is getting frequent ear infections or tooth decays and things like that, and you need to take them to appointments, that's going to result in time away from work for you and increased medical expenses as well, like co-pays and other appointment related costs. Another thing is that within the last 25 years, there have been several recalls for various things in formula. These are some of the examples from the last 25 years. So broken glass being found in cans of formula, bacterial contaminants like salmonella or botulism, fragments of metal, plastic shavings, bugs. Some of the cans of formula have been labeled with incorrect instructions. And then having too much or too little of important vitamins is also has happened before, which is definitely a risk of formula feeding. All formulas are going to have fillers in them. If you think about formula kind of like a cola or a pop or a soda, all of them have the same basic ingredients, some high fructose corn syrup, bubbles, but they each have their own flavor. That's kind of the same concept with formula. The fillers are essentially like the own flavor of the formula. Formula also has high fructose corn syrup in it and hydrogenated oils. So let's go over the cost of breastfeeding compared to the cost of formula feeding. And this is your emoji. Breastfeeding can be absolutely free. When it comes down to it, all that you need are your breasts and your baby, and you can breastfeed your baby right there. There are some things that you can purchase that might make it a little bit more convenient or a little bit easier for you, and these expenses are really small. If you want to buy a boppy pillow, that costs around $30 or $50. Nursing bras, lanolin ointment or like nipple cream, and then nursing pads. If you total it all up, that comes out to around $100 to $130 total for breastfeeding. If you do need an electric pump or a hand pump, that WIC can provide that to you at no cost. The electric pumps are provided on a priority basis. Now let's take a look at the cost of formula feeding for 1 year. So you're obviously going to need to purchase the formula. If you're with WIC, then you'll get most of your formula through WIC, but it is common to need additional cans of formula, more than what WIC can provide. So if you're on WIC and you're buying just a standard formula, that's going to come out to about $384 that you'll spend out of pocket each year for having enough formula. If you do need a specialty formula, it's going to be more expensive. You can still get specialty formulas through WIC, but if you need any additional cans of it each month, that will be an out-of-pocket expense. Of course, you need bottles, you need bottle nipples, you need nursery water. We'll talk a little bit more about water and formula preparation in just a little bit, but all of those things add up. And so on WIC, if you're feeding your baby a standard powdered formula, it's going to cost you about $641 each year. If you're on WIC and feeding your baby a specialty powdered formula, so it can cost you about $881 a year if you're on WIC, but still need to provide extra specialty formula to your baby. If you're not on WIC though, it will cost about $1,600 to $2,700 a year to formula feed your baby. Keep in mind as well that whether you formula feed your baby or breastfeed your baby, you'll still need to purchase diapers. Most babies go through about 250 diapers in their first month. So we've got recommendations as far as the best way to feed your baby, both for you and for your baby. So the best option is going to be breastfeeding. It has the most health benefits for you and for your baby, and it's the least expensive. The next best option would be to pump or express your breast milk and offer that to your baby. Then we would recommend donor milk. Denver has a milk bank that you can get in contact with if you need any help. And then the last best option is going to be to formula feed your baby. I do want you to understand that if you need to formula feed your baby or if breastfeeding is contraindicated for you, then formula feeding will meet your baby's requirements. So, say you need to formula feed or you choose to formula feed. How do you go about picking a formula? You'll notice in the stores there are a lot of different words on the cans of formula, anything from ready to feed, powdered, soy, AR, DHA, non-GMO. There's a lot of marketing that goes on with formula feeds and choosing a formula. So if you do need to formula feed your baby and need assistance picking which formula to feed your baby, certainly feel free to contact your baby's doctor or reach out to WIC. It is important, no matter which formula that you use, to read the instructions on the can about how to mix it. Mixing the formula according to the instructions is very important to make sure that your baby gets enough nutrients, but not too many. In general, the recommendation is to use 2 ounces of water and 1 unpacked but level scoop of formula powder. Be sure, though, to read the instructions on the can to make sure that specifically for the formula that you're feeding your baby, that that's what is recommended. Don't put anything in a baby's bottle other than formula or breast milk. They don't need any plain water, any cereal, any juice, honey, anything other than that. No baby foods. Bottles should be specifically for formula or breast milk. And then going back, one thing is some formulas require that you firmly pack the powder. That's why it's especially important to read the instructions on the can. So, once you have prepared your formula, these are recommendations or guidelines for storing and handling breast formula. So, powdered formula, once you open the can of formula, you need to use it or throw it away within 30 days. You need to store that can of formula in a cool, dry place. Then, once you've prepared the bottle by mixing the formula powder with the water, you need to feed that to your baby or throw it away within 1 hour. If you're using concentrated formula, keep it in the refrigerator after mixing it. You can keep it in the refrigerator for up to 24 hours. If it's been in the refrigerator for longer than 24 hours, you need to throw it away. Lastly, for ready-to-feed formula, if you're opening and giving your baby a single bottle of ready-to-feed formula, they need to eat it or you need to throw it away within 1 hour of opening. If you use a jug, it can be opened and stored in the refrigerator for up to 24 hours, but after 24 hours it must be thrown away. If you don't keep it in the refrigerator, that entire jug needs to be thrown away within 1 hour. So, some things to think about. When you're mixing up the formula, it needs to be mixed with clean water. So, thankfully, the good news is that in Pueblo, the city water is clean and it's safe to use. If you prefer not to use tap water, or if you don't have Pueblo city water at where you live or where you're trying to prepare your baby's bottle, then you'll need to purchase water. We recommend nursery water and we discourage the use of bottled water. So just regular bottled water doesn't have fluoride in it, which is a necessary nutrient for your baby. If you live on a well or if you're using well water, be sure to have it tested to make sure that it is safe and clean and has enough of all of the right nutrients but not anything in excessively high levels. You can call the Pueblo Board of Waterworks to have your water tested if you're on a well. Then lastly, especially keep in mind, going back to mixing the formula, to use the correct amount of water, reading the can instructions, putting the water in first, and then mixing in the powdered or concentrated formula. Using too much or too little water will have negative effects for your baby's growth. Then finally, breastfed babies don't need any supplemental water. Your breast milk provides adequate hydration. This is the end of this portion of the early infant feeding class. Be sure to save the emoji that you saw during this video and text it in at the end of the 4th video. Thank you.